You've been told that nuts are superfoods, full of protein, good fats, and heart benefits. But if you're over 60, that advice might actually be working against you. In my practice, I've seen active, health-conscious seniors experience high blood pressure spikes, mental fog, and kidney strain, all while snacking on healthy nuts daily. Here's the catch. Not all nuts are safe allies as you age. Some become silent saboteurs sitting in your pantry. I'm Dr. Kaylan Desai, and I've spent over 2 decades helping older adults feel energized, clear-minded, and truly well again. One thing I've learned: every bite is either building you up or slowly breaking you down. It's not about fear, it's about knowing what works for your body at this stage of life. Today, I'll walk you through the 4 nuts you must avoid, ones linked to joint pain, liver stress, and medication conflicts, and the 4 you should be eating instead. These aren't just snacks. They're nature's pharmacy. Improving blood flow, stabilizing sugar, fueling your brain, and calming your nerves for better sleep. I'll also reveal the most harmful nut for brain fog. Odds are, it's already in your home. This is real, targeted science for the over 60 body. If you're ready to take ownership of your health, hit subscribe and tap the notification bell. We bust senior health myths every week. And before we dive in, drop a 1 in the comments if you're with me, or a 0 if you're not convinced yet. Either way, your health deserves the truth. Nut 1: Brazil nut. Let's start with a nut that isn't just healthy, it can quite literally restore energy and clarity in men over 60. Meet the Brazil nut. Take Samuel, a 66-year-old retired mechanic. When he came to my clinic, he looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. He was sluggish, forgetful, and blamed it on aging. He had tried coffee, supplements, and even joined a walking group, but nothing worked. Blood work revealed the real issue: dangerously low selenium levels. Most men his age don't realize that selenium isn't just an immune booster. It helps regulate thyroid hormones, testosterone, and even mental sharpness. Just 2 Brazil nuts a day for 6 weeks, and Samuel was a different man. His thinking cleared, energy returned, and for the first time in months, he was laughing again. That's the power of giving your body exactly what it needs, no more, no less. I told him to take just 1 Brazil nut a day. No complex routine. No fancy pills. That was it. 2 weeks later, Mr. Paul walked back into my office looking like someone had turned his lights back on. Eyes clearer, skin brighter, and this calm confidence in his step. "Doc Kaylan," he chuckled. "I don't know what kind of magic that nut has, but I feel like myself again. Here's why. 1 Brazil nut packs more than 130% of your daily selenium needs, and your body absorbs it effortlessly. That selenium flips the switch on your thyroid, helping it control metabolism, mood, memory, and even that stubborn belly fat. When your thyroid drags, your whole system slows down. You feel sluggish. You gain weight even when you eat light. Everything becomes effort. But that's not all. Selenium also fires up testosterone production. Now, men over 60 naturally see a dip in testosterone. That's expected. But it doesn't mean you have to live with low energy, low drive, or restless nights. With the right support, your body can still produce what it needs. That tiny nut helps restore balance, lifting bedroom confidence, rekindling motivation, and giving you deeper, more restful sleep. And there's one more benefit that most people miss. Brazil nuts nourish your myelin sheath. That's the fatty layer that protects your nerves and helps brain signals travel smoothly through your body. When it breaks down, simple things like gripping your keys or standing up too quickly become harder, and your thinking starts to feel slower. But the healthy fats and selenium in Brazil nuts help rebuild that protective layer, keeping your movements smooth and your mind sharp. Here's the catch: more isn't better. Too much selenium can cause nausea, low energy, or even brittle nails. So stick to just 1, maybe 2 a day. Store them in the fridge, ideally in their shells, and chew them slowly to unlock all their goodness. It's a small daily habit with huge rewards. You don't need another supplement, just a little bit of nature the right way. If one single nut can restore energy, sharpen memory, and strengthen your nerves, imagine what the next nut on our list can do. Let's talk about almonds. Nut 2. Almonds. You settle into your favorite chair, cup of chai in hand, savoring the light crunch and mellow sweetness of a few almonds. Years ago, my uncle in Ahmedabad had this daily ritual: early morning sunlight, the day's newspaper, and a small brass bowl filled with almonds. "These little things keep my head straight and my knees steady," he'd say. Back then, I thought it was just his way, but now science has caught up with what he already knew. Almonds truly protect the body and mind. They act as a quiet shield, especially for older adults. As the years pass, two of your strongest pillars, your bones and your brain, begin to weaken. After 60, bone loss becomes faster and more dangerous, setting the stage for painful falls, slow recovery, and fading independence. But just a quarter cup of almonds gives you nearly 100 milligrams of calcium and 80 milligrams of magnesium. That magnesium helps direct calcium into your bones where it belongs, instead of letting it settle in your arteries. Few snacks offer that perfect mix. You don't need to munch on a whole bowl. Just 10 to 15 almonds in the morning, while your tea cools, can make a meaningful difference. Choose raw or dry roasted almonds, unsalted. If your teeth protest, soak them overnight. Chewing thoroughly matters. It unlocks their full nutritional value. Turn it into something more than a habit. Keep your almonds close to where you read or rest. Pause before you eat. Breathe. Let each bite ground you. This simple morning practice, calcium, magnesium, and mindful chewing, nourishes your frame and your focus. You're not just eating a nut. You're investing in balance, stability, and presence. Nut 3, walnuts. Now, let's talk about a nut that resembles your brain, and that's no accident. It's linked to better memory, smoother blood flow, and sounder sleep. Nut 3 is the walnut, your mind's quiet ally. Mr. Sharma, once a history teacher in Surat, now spends long mornings gazing out his window. Since his wife passed, he's felt memory slipping and his thoughts growing heavier. One afternoon, he opened a glass jar filled with walnuts. "They say these are good for the brain," he murmured, tracing their brain-like ridges. His quiet effort to stay mentally present moved me deeply. It echoed the journey of so many elders trying to hold on to themselves. Each walnut, with its folds and curves, mirrors the cerebral cortex. And inside those folds, alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a powerful plant-based omega-3. Your brain craves these fats to keep neuron walls flexible and healthy. As we age, those neuron connections weaken, slowing reaction time and clouding thought. ALA helps rebuild and protect these lines of communication, keeping your thinking nimble and your conversations clear. But the real magic hides in the skin, that slightly bitter coating most people toss aside. It's packed with polyphenol, antioxidants strong enough to cross the blood-brain barrier. These warriors combat inflammation that quietly damages brain cells and speeds up decline. A recent study in the Journal of Nutrition showed seniors who ate just under 2 handfuls of walnuts daily for 7 weeks improved their memory, word recall, and even reaction time. And here's something few people know. Walnuts naturally contain melatonin. As you grow older, your body makes less of it, which makes sleep harder to come by. A handful of walnuts in the evening, 7 to 9 halves, is just enough to encourage deeper, uninterrupted rest. But remember, their oils are delicate. Keep them in the fridge. And don't peel that skin. That's where the real protection lives. Mr. Sharma still ends each evening with his walnuts. "My thoughts feel clearer," he tells me. "I remember stories I thought were gone." It's not magic. It's the slow power of daily care. One nut at a time, he's safeguarding something precious. His sense of self. And that's what we're doing together. One nut, one habit, one step towards strength and clarity. Nut 4. Pistachios. The humble pistachio might just be your best-kept secret for a stronger heart, sharper eyes, and steadier blood sugar. Often overlooked, this small green nut delivers powerful benefits that most fruits and vegetables struggle to match. For older adults, it deserves a daily place in your diet. I still remember my grandfather easing into his armchair every afternoon, a wooden bowl of pistachios in hand. At the time, I saw it as nothing more than a snack. Years later, I realized it was one of the quiet rituals that protected his heart and preserved his vision far into his 80s. Each ounce of pistachios, about 40 to 50 nuts, contains roughly 289 milligrams of potassium, a mineral that relaxes blood vessels and keeps blood pressure in check. Unlike many trendy superfoods, pistachios don't need marketing hype. They deliver results, especially when salt sensitivity or aging arteries are pushing your numbers higher. But pistachios go beyond your heart. They're rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, two vision-saving nutrients that collect in your retina. These carotenoids act like internal sunglasses, filtering out harmful blue light and slowing the advance of age-related macular degeneration. If you want to keep reading the newspaper, driving safely, and recognizing your grandchildren's faces from across the room, these nuts are your quiet allies. Even your blood sugar levels benefit. Pistachios have a naturally low glycemic index, along with 3 grams of fiber per ounce. That combination slows digestion and reduces insulin spikes, helping you feel full longer and avoid the crashes that follow sugary snacks. For anyone managing prediabetes or diabetes, pistachios offer sweet relief without the sugar. There's also power in the shell. Cracking each nut by hand turns snacking into a mindful act. You slow down, savor each bite, and stop when you're satisfied, not stuffed. That simple ritual helps with portion control and even lower stress. Here's how to get the best out of them. Eat about 1 ounce daily, roughly 40 to 50 pistachios. Choose unsalted or lightly salted options to avoid excess sodium. If arthritis makes shelling hard, go for naturally open varieties. Store them in a sealed container at room temperature or refrigerate for longer freshness. Pistachios bring together heart health, eye protection, blood sugar control, and mindful eating, all in one crunchy, satisfying handful. When you build these into your daily routine, you're not just snacking, you're fortifying your body for the life you still want to live, with steadier steps and clearer sights. Nuts to avoid. While the first 4 nuts can work wonders for your health after 60, not all nuts play on your team. Some may look harmless, even come dressed in health labels, but behind the scenes they're doing real damage, triggering inflammation, raising blood pressure, interfering with your medications, and leaving your mind in a fog. At this age, you deserve to know what's helping you and what's quietly setting you back. Let's start with one of the most commonly misunderstood culprits. Nut 1. Peanuts. Mr. Mukherjee spent over 2 decades in the Indian Army and still has the posture to show for it. Now 72, he walks every morning and watches what he eats. But in the past year, his joints began to ache more than usual, and his blood pressure crept up, even with daily medication. At first, he thought it was just age catching up, until he asked his doctor, "Peanuts are good for me, right?" What he didn't realize is that peanuts aren't technically nuts, they're legumes more closely related to lentils and chickpeas, and that matters more than most people think. Because they grow underground, peanuts are far more exposed to moisture, making them a breeding ground for aflatoxins, toxic mold byproducts you can't see, smell, or taste. These toxins put added strain on the liver, weaken the immune system, and over time have even been linked to cancer. And since the liver naturally slows down with age, daily servings of peanuts could be quietly working against you, not for you. Even if your digestion can handle peanuts, they often spark a low-grade inflammation that builds up unnoticed. This internal irritation can worsen joint pain, fog up your thinking, and tire your cardiovascular system just when you need it to stay strong. For someone already dealing with stiffness or mental fatigue, peanuts can be the match lighting the fire. The way peanuts are sold only adds to the problem. Most of what you find in local shops, salted, roasted, or coated, comes packed with excess sodium, far more than your heart can comfortably handle. Over 60% of Indian adults above 60 deal with hypertension. A few grams of salt here and there might not seem like much, but when you're managing high blood pressure, every milligram counts. Mr. Mukherjee's daily breakfast included 2 slices of toast with a generous smear of peanut butter, thinking it was a clean, protein-packed start. But even popular peanut butters, even those labeled natural, often come laced with added sugars and hydrogenated oils, both of which can tax your liver and mess with your metabolism. On top of that, peanuts are packed with omega-6 fatty acids, which when left unbalanced by enough omega-3s, fan the flames of inflammation. This imbalance can slow your circulation, dull your memory, and wear down your system from the inside out. There's one more hidden danger. Peanuts can interfere with vitamin K absorption, which matters a lot if you're on blood thinners. That small snack might throw off your dosage, making bleeding risks harder to manage. Dr. Desai, who works with many older patients, often warns that while one serving here or there won't harm most people, daily peanut intake after 60 deserves a closer look. Your body changes with time. What served you well at 40 might start wearing you down at 70. And peanuts, especially in everyday quantities, are one of those foods that seem innocent, but might just be chipping away at your strength, your clarity, and your heart. Nut 2. Cashews stay with me for the next nut to avoid. A popular snack that spikes blood sugar, boosts kidney stone risk, hinders digestion, and even poses a choking hazard for seniors. It proves that even familiar favorites can carry unexpected dangers. Cashews. Tracy, a 74-year-old grandmother, fills her kitchen with the aroma of fresh-baked cookies for her grandkids, yet drags through afternoons. She wakes with stomach discomfort and faces sudden blood sugar spikes 3 times a week. Cashews popped up everywhere in her diet. Snacks on the go, stirred into smoothies, and sprinkled on granola bars. She told me with a hopeful smile, "They're good for you, right?" Cashews carry a healthy food reputation thanks to their creamy texture and mild flavor, but looks can be deceiving for anyone over 60. Packed into every health-branded product, they promise nutrition while hiding a secret risk to your metabolism. Each ounce of cashews delivers about 9 g of carbohydrates, unusually high for a tree nut. That carb load triggers notable glycemic impact, sending your glucose soaring after every handful. Around a quarter of seniors manage diabetes, and nearly half fall into the prediabetic range. Repeated sugar surges leave you fatigued, foggy, and accelerate damage to blood vessels and nerves before you even notice the harm. The story with cashews doesn't end at carbohydrates. For seniors, the risks go deeper, and they often go unnoticed until symptoms begin to stack up. Let's start with something most people have never heard of: oxalates. Cashews are rich in these naturally occurring compounds. Oxalates bind tightly to minerals in your gut, especially calcium. That means the more cashews you eat, the more calcium slips through your system without being absorbed. For those already concerned about bone strength or at risk of osteoporosis, this matters. Calcium is critical not just for your bones but for your nerves and muscle function, and if oxalates are constantly interfering, even a calcium-rich diet can fall short. And it doesn't stop there. Oxalates don't just rob your bones. In excess, they begin to collect, and one of the first places they settle is in your kidneys. Over time, this buildup can lead to kidney stone formation, painful, dangerous, and often entirely preventable. Many seniors experience recurring urinary discomfort, and few ever link it back to their food choices, let alone their go-to snack. Now, let's talk about something less obvious but just as serious: choking. Cashews are smooth, curved, and soft enough to chew into a paste, but for many seniors, swallowing isn't as easy as it used to be. Age-related changes in the swallowing reflex increase the risk of food going down the wrong way. Cashews, because of their shape and texture, are among the top nuts involved in choking incidents. That creamy consistency feels comforting, but it can easily become lodged in the throat, especially when eaten quickly or without fluids. And here's one more layer most don't expect: toxicity in raw cashews. Raw cashews contain urushiol, the same toxic compound found in poison ivy. That's why all cashews sold in stores are steamed or heat-treated before packaging. The problem? This high-heat processing strips them of many of their natural nutrients. What you're left with is a highly processed, low-nutrient snack that doesn't support your health the way whole foods should. Cashews may taste good, but beneath that soft bite lies a handful of risks: blood sugar spikes, mineral depletion, kidney strain, choking danger, and reduced nutrient content. If they're in your pantry now, consider swapping them for better options. Almonds and walnuts, for example, offer stronger nutritional value, better omega balance, and fewer hidden risks for seniors. Nut 3. Macadamia nuts. Now meet Richard, a disciplined 72-year-old retired physicist, always methodical, always in control. But something's been bothering him. His waistline has slowly crept up, his blood pressure is rising, and after dinner, he finds himself nodding off in front of the TV. His daily treat? A small bowl of macadamia nuts. They're supposed to be heart healthy, right? Macadamia nuts feel like the ultimate healthy indulgence. Rich, buttery, and smooth enough to melt on your tongue. You spot them in upscale health food stores, hear influencers praise their superfood status, and assume a handful equals self-care. Yet, that small taste of luxury carries a hidden calorie bomb. 1 ounce of macadamia, about a dozen nuts, packs nearly 200 calories and 22 grams of fat. Your metabolism slows naturally after 60, and activity often dips. A mini meal's worth of calories without fullness leads to subtle, steady weight gain that slips under the radar until your jeans fit tighter and your scale inches up. Beyond the calorie count, macadamia nuts contain about 3 g of saturated fat per ounce. Those fats raise LDL cholesterol, adding strain to an aging heart. If you've worked hard to manage your blood pressure and lipids, this quiet source of unhealthy fat can erase weeks of progress. Many older adults develop silent gallstones that flare only intermittently. That high-fat load in macadamias can trigger a gallbladder attack, sharp pain, nausea, and sometimes emergency hospital visits. I've seen seniors ignore mild discomfort until a single handful of these nuts lands them in surgery. You savor a handful of buttery macadamia, but their density can crack crowns, fracture bridges, and jolt sensitive teeth, turning a simple snack into a painful dental bill. Seniors with even minor dental work risk chipping or loosening restorations, leading to costly visits and unplanned discomfort. Macadamias feel like a harmless treat, yet they're hidden threats, from silent weight gain to gallbladder stress and now oral damage, that build slowly but leave lasting effects on your health and budget. At this point, cautious avoidance or strict portion control makes more sense than risking irreversible harm. As Dr. Kaylan Desai often says, the way we snack matters more after 60 than ever before, because small choices repeated daily shape how we age. Nut 4. Pine nuts. Up next is a nut so small and oily it slips under most radars. It can meddle with your medications, twist your sense of taste, and even trigger dangerous weight loss in older adults. Pine nuts. Rose, a thoughtful 79-year-old who tracks every vitamin and strolls daily, began noticing something unsettling. Her morning coffee left a sharp, metallic edge on her tongue. Water tasted off and each meal felt tainted. Doctors checked her meds, digestion, and hydration. Everything looked normal. The clue came when she mentioned the homemade pesto she'd been stirring into pasta. That batch boasted extra pine nuts. This curious condition has a name: pine mouth syndrome. Certain pine nuts carry compounds that trigger a bitter, metallic taste distortion lasting anywhere from a few days up to 2 weeks. It doesn't harm you directly, But for seniors, the impact goes deeper. When everything tastes wrong, you eat less and sip less water. Over time, that leads to unintended weight loss, dehydration, and nutrient gaps, risks that can spiral into frailty or even hospitalization. Your sense of taste serves as a frontline guard for your nutrition. When it falters, your health follows. Beyond taste, pine nuts pose hidden medication risks. Compounds in them can interfere with liver enzymes that break down prescription drugs. If you rely on blood pressure pills, cholesterol medications, or mood stabilizers, pine nuts may blunt their effects or intensify side effects unexpectedly. Most seniors never hear this warning, and researchers are only beginning to understand the full extent of these interactions. Keeping your medications steady matters more now than ever. Beyond that bitter aftertaste, pine nuts harbor delicate polyunsaturated fats prone to oxidation. If they sit too long on your shelf or endure improper storage, those oils break down and feed inflammation rather than quench it. For seniors managing arthritis, joint pain, or metabolic syndrome, oxidized fats worsen stiffness and discomfort. You may not spot them tucked into baked goods, sauces, or pesto, but each bite can add to the inflammation you work so hard to control. Pine nuts slip easily from your fork and through your throat. Their smooth, oily shells become a hidden hazard when dry-mouthed, a side effect of many medications, and slower swallowing reflexes enter the picture. Inhaling a single pine nut can trigger aspiration or a choking episode in seconds, turning a harmless snack into a medical emergency. Taste distortion, medication interactions, inflammation, and choking risks all point in one direction. Pine nuts don't belong in a senior's pantry. Choose safer nuts like almonds, walnuts, or pistachios that deliver real benefits without hidden dangers. Your meals should nourish and protect, never threaten your health or well-being. As we've seen, not all nuts are created equal, especially as we age. Some, like walnuts and almonds, can be powerful allies, while others, like peanuts and pine nuts, may quietly chip away at your health. It's not about cutting everything out. It's about choosing wisely, listening to your body, and making small shifts that protect your energy, clarity, and independence. If this helped you or someone you care about, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on more health tips made just for you. And if you've had your own experience with any of these nuts, good or bad, drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story. Take care, and here's to smarter snacking and stronger living.